Stock Sectors, Slim Special Edition. We're going to look at 6 widely held stocks post-earnings after a huge stock market spike to the upside. This is a cycle analysis lesson plus, and you're going to learn a lot about how stocks identify themselves as potential trade after some big moves, and of course, after earnings. The reason I call this a cycle analysis plus lesson is because we're going to identify some chart patterns that fit into stock market or individual stock peaks or bottoms, and they help us identify when that could be happening around a cycle peak or cycle trough. So this, I think, is a nice educational video. Plus, it may identify some trades for you in these 6 stocks. So we're going to start out looking at the first stock here, which is Applied Materials, AMAT. So what you're looking at, of course, are some couple of charts that don't have a ton of information on them because all they are is candlestick charts with some moving averages in here. I like to look at different moving averages than many other people do. This on the weekly is the 34-week moving average right there. And then we have the 13-week moving average right over here and our reversal scout in there also. So that's what we have on the weekly. On the daily, I often look at the 89-day moving average. So those are the things that are in there. And the bottom here is the slim ribbon PO, which shows us momentum conditions. So the reversal scout is a momentum condition over here, and the slim ribbon PO momentum conditions there, along with the slim ribbon that is on the daily chart right there. So that's what we're looking at without cycle analysis on the chart. So what we're going to do now is switch over and add in the cycle analysis on the weekly chart, and you can see how that changes and things begin to pop out. And that's the work that we put on all of our widely helds and ETFs and futures that we follow. Now I'll switch this over to the daily, and you see cycle analysis is now on both. On the bottom of the cycle brackets, that's a drawing tool, and that just simply helps you understand the energetic rhythms that are in the market. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit right over here on the weekly chart and blow this up, and you can see that there are energetic rhythms that really begin to pop out. Now, the basics of cycle analysis are looking at translations and configurations. Now, a translation is where the peak comes in the particular cycle, and the configuration is it a bullish configuration? In other words, does it have higher peaks and higher troughs? Or is it a negative configuration or bearish where it has lower peaks and lower troughs? So you can see right over here a lower peak, right over here, and these were downside lower troughs. When you get into the negative configurations, they warn you of failures that are going to come. As you see, it fails in the resistance zones that we put right in over here. When you get an early breakdown in the cycle, as you had right over here, it warns you that it's going to decline all the way through the period of the end of the energetic selling that comes in there, or the declining phase. Now, what's really key about the 6 stocks that I'm going to look at are either there is a breakdown or energetic appearance of selling that comes, or cash flow out, or they have patterns that suggest the peak is in place. Let's take a look here a little bit closer on this Applied Materials as we just look at these last 2 cycles. And these are both bullish cycles right over here, as the peak came way over here, way on the right side. So this is right-hand translated, which is bullish. And you see the trough comes way above the previous trough over here, which means it is in a bullish configuration. When you get right-hand translated and a bullish configuration and it makes its bottom in support, that gives you a sense that the next rally will achieve levels equal or greater. And when it does it very quickly, as you see right over here, it often tells you that there is more to come on the upside. This next cycle also right-hand translated, and bullish configuration. That says that as it made its low trough in support right over here, that it would be followed by what would be a test or higher of that previous peak, which you see happened right over here. Now, this was just solid upside move over here, but something is different over here. And you can see, those of you that are candlestick users, this is a long-legged doji, which often means that there is selling coming in at those levels. Also, it comes in at the fib extension levels that you saw appear right over here, that blue area. Also, this is a Harami cross, is what's that called right over there, which often tells you that a market has peaked. So it achieved the upside that we're looking for in here, which says that under normal conditions, in only the third week, we would then be looking for, well, some further rally. But there's more information here that I want to show you. First of all, I want you to see that it's forming a megaphone in here, right over there. What happens in a megaphone is that it begins to use more and more energy to get to the top of the megaphone, and then begins to fail at those top levels. When that happens, often, at very least, there's a pullback somewhere into the middle area here. But when it happens early in a cycle, that could be a warning of a translation that's going to occur way on the left side of this cycle here. And that says, start looking for things that are warnings that a top is in place. Of course, Applied Material reported earnings last week. Now, when I switch over to the daily chart right over here, you will see there are beautiful cyclical energies that are in there. And just look at the what would be the average rhythm that you see on the bottom right over here. Remember, cycles go from trough to trough and normally are in an average lengths. In other words, the trough could come either side of the ideal low right over here. And this is the SMH, the semiconductor ETF. And you can see how this tracks the semiconductor ETF very well, and it absolutely should. So here's that megaphone that we saw form on the weekly. But look what happened at the top of the megaphone after earnings came out. And the earnings came out, as you can see here, on November 16th. It had a big upside gap, and then earnings came out and had a big downside gap. So in the area of that long-legged doji that we see on the weekly, it made an island top. And those islands are very reliable. Now, the stock gapped down, and then, of course, the market was very strong and started to come back. But we calculated this right over here as a sell zone between about 147.80 and about 151.60, 65, something like that. So it's already gotten into that sell zone. Now, momentum has been strong, and you can see here on the slim ribbon, it's still green. So this is going to have to prove itself as negative right in here. But usually when you get an island top like this, and it comes down and hits support and bounces, it turns down again. Now, the indication we have on the weekly and the indication that we have here on the daily both suggest that a top is forming. We want to see how it acts in the sell zone, but if it rejects here and starts to come down, it could very likely get down to this level right over here, which is the 78.6 at 135.80. That is a long way down, and what would be a super short side trade were that to happen. It would not break into a negative configuration until it got down to this level over here, under 129. That's doubtful based on what we see here, but this really looks to me like an important area, and the risk rewards of it getting back up and into the island and getting up to those highs is very small relative to it turning down in here and then moving down into what would be the support zone here under 140 and maybe down to 135.80, right down at that level. So this is a very negative stock based on what I'm seeing right here for the short term and maybe the intermediate term. Were it to have the pullback, as we believe, based on this under 140, then probably this next cycle would give you another rally and set up another sell area in here. But this looks like a stock to me that has peaked. That is applied material, and you can see how we brought in the information on the cycle analysis, the support resistance from the swing highs and swing lows, and also the candlestick information that we have, and also the momentum conditions, which you see are positive here on the weekly, positive here on the daily as the slim ribbon is still moving up, the slim ribbon PO, and warnings that a peak is in place. Were I to be trading this, and I certainly might, I would be entering a small position on the short side, and then as it proves itself failing from that zone, then I would be increasing the short side. So I'm not telling you what my trades are. I really don't ever share that. None of us do here at Slim. We teach the analysis and let you apply it to your style, because I think that's the best way, and show you how we put all of the information together. So that's why I'm telling you that were I to make the trade, it would be entering small right now because of the information that we have here, and it's not a negative condition yet. It's only negative indications, and I'll show you some stocks that already have negative conditions that are probably a sell right now.